You guys hear my birds? I've claimed them as my own. Do you hear the birds? Let's talk about the birds. No, let's talk about validation. I see there's a couple of people in this chat, but just let me know what you think about validating yourself to other people. Do you feel like you have to validate yourself to other people? If so, why? We're going to talk about validation. Hey, Sassy. Good. How y'all doing? Watching you while drive. You driving home? Well, look, one down and two to go. One down and two to go. One down and two to go, and you'll be home. I guess you call it like a. But do you call your days when you work at home? Do you call it like a work/weekend kind of day? I know, Sassy. I love the chirping birds. Do you guys hear the birds chirping? Today, y'all, we want to talk about validation. And the reason I want to talk about validation, you know this is the Let's Walk and Talk, but we talk about everything. The goal is to get you guys to get up and move around, to get up and walk at your own pace, jog, run, whatever it is. But today, we're talking about validation because I watched a video this weekend, and the video made me sad because it was a content creator. Hey Jill, welcome to the live, everybody. How y'all doing today? Y'all, do y'all hear the birds? Y'all hear the birds? Hear the dog barking in the background? But I just love those birds. I love, love, love the birds. For some reason, I just love the sound of them chirping, chirping, chirping. I think because I'm hoping that when they chirp like that, that they're happy. You know? I'm hoping that when they chirp like that, that they're happy. So, yeah, I want to talk about validation. You know, validation can come in many forms, right? It can come self-validation. Uh, when we're talking about ourselves, it could be self-validation and it can be validation to others, you know, validating ourselves to others. Do you guys ever feel the need to validate yourself to somebody? Whether it's your family or friends, family and or friends. Let me know in the comment section if you can't happen to catch this live. I'm going to try to stick to 30 minutes, but I might go to an hour, of course. But if I get enough good comments or people let me know how they feel, y'all know how it is. Y'all know how it goes. But watch the legs walk for 30 minutes. Watch the feet, watch the legs move for 30 minutes, okay? 30 minutes, 30 straight minutes. And I want you guys to do that consistently, be consistent and be persistent about being consistent, okay? 5 days a week at least. 5 days a week at least. Because you can do cardio every day. You can do it every day. But I want you guys to tell me because I saw a content creator. Right. Hello. I saw a content creator. She's very popular. Her channel is very popular. In fact, it's a family channel. Well, let me tell y'all what happened. Last week, at some point last week, I'm not sure what day. And when it happened, I was wondering myself, like, why is she doing this? Okay, y'all, she showed her income. She showed her income on YouTube. What's going on, girl dad? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, Sassy. Sassy says she's listening. Good afternoon, girl dad says Lion's Pride in the chat. He said, hey, Sassy. So she showed her income, y'all. Something I don't think, something I wouldn't do. But she showed her income. And let me tell you, social media, it was social media income, okay? And I'm going to tell you a roundabout figure. She showed 3 months. And I'm going to give you guys the roundabout figure, okay? I don't know if they do any other social media, but they do YouTube. But she's basically a stay-at-home mom, and she acts silly and does things on YouTube. I'll say, I think it was last month, April. It was $18,000. That was her statement, okay, in one account. And it was real. It was real. It wasn't fake. It was real. She was almost in tears. Okay. Another account. Uh, no, same account. It was $18,000. I'll say April. March, it was 17,000 plus. February, it was like 9,000. Well, let me tell you, I ain't sleeping on the 9,000, okay? Okay, because that's basically $10,000 a month. I mean, we're not going to talk about the taxes and all this kind of stuff. Just someone have that in their checking account. So the taxes and all that have been accounted for. And all they do, I won't say all they do because she works. You know, she works. She's a married mom of four. She works. Hey, retirement days. Hey, Alice. So she showed her income, y'all. She showed her checking account for last month, which was the $18,000. She showed that same account for March, which was 17,000 plus. And in February, it was a different account, and it was $9,000. Now, I'm often in her comments, and I see the comments, the things that are being said. She's an African American young lady. I don't even think she's 30. Her husband is a Caucasian man, around 35 maybe. Now, a lot of the times in her comments, there are comments and there are things, most of it is positive. Don't get me wrong, because I love those type of channels. Most of it is positive. But a lot of times there are things in her comments like, you just went and married an older white guy, you know, yada, 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 yada. All she does is play, you know, yada, 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 yada. She doesn't work, yada, 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 yada. My thing is, would you guys have gotten on social media platform and showed your checking statements, your checking account, your bank statements, just to justify or to validate the things that you say or the way that you're living on social media? I think that was like one of the worst things she could have done, but that's my opinion. So I want to know what your opinion is, because you know, I think sometimes we get caught up in what people think about us and the things that people say. And it is clear, it's very clear that the comments and statements made in her chat have affected her mentally. And this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So let me know if you guys have ever felt the need to validate yourself to strangers, to family members, and to friends, to anybody. Have you ever felt the need to validate yourself to anybody? Girl Dad said, nah. Miss Alice says, absolutely not. Hey, Betty. Hey, Retirement Days. I didn't see you. Did I see you? I think I did. So, I don't know, y'all. She was, you know, you already have things going on in your personal life, right? So, she has 2 kids from a prior marriage, and she has 2 kids with her husband. The husband has basically become the father to all of them. He is the father to all of them, which is a great thing. But of course, you know, you have the elements of racism that's in the comments, right? Because had she been a Caucasian woman that stayed at home, I don't think she'd get as much flack in the comments. She's silly. She plays a lot. She would act that what some would call is ghetto is how she acts. But she explained all that. And if you pay attention to the channel and you go there enough, you will know that ghetto is far. She is far from ghetto. You know, ghetto she may act, but she explained that when she acts silly and does certain things, they seem to like that. That's what her subscribers seem to like. So she's kind of just taking on that persona. And she says, and it's not, she likes being silly. She likes getting her husband to play around and do things in the videos. They do a lot of family-like things. So, but she was like in tears, y'all, trying to explain how smart she is, the fact that she has various streams of revenue. She has classes. I will say what she says, she backs up. She has classes. She teaches classes, you know, to try to teach people how to, you know, improve their social media platforms and things like that. She has almost 1 million subscribers. But it was so sad to see her drop tears, shed tears because of the thoughts and the opinions of people in her comment section, in her live videos, in her uploaded videos, just whatever. Some people, y'all know I talk about a misery lounge all the time. Some people don't care how good you're doing. If you seem happy at all, let me tell you something. If you seem happy and if you seem sad, there are people who are going to try and bring you down regardless. The girl that says that's too much ways people can find out where she lives. Okay, exactly. Especially when you already know the state. You already know the state because she has said the state. They've said the state plenty of times. They've said where they lived before, where they live now. They've mentioned where their family members live. The state. They never, to my knowledge, have said the city, except maybe twice. Well, and that's too much, They said it, so they said the city twice, and I still won't say it, but just seeing her like cry like that, and it wasn't like a breakdown boo-hoo cry. It was an angry cry. It was like that kind of crying when you're talking, you're holding your baby, you're trying to explain because you're tired of people talking or you're tired of what they put. Now, a lot of people will say, that's too much information. Yes, Miss Ash, that's too much information. So to me, she felt the need to validate herself, which basically means prove that something is valid, prove that you're telling the truth, prove that it's true and accurate. Why? I don't understand that. I don't understand why she felt that need. I think because she's young, but I can't just say it's because she's young. I just think that's her type of personality. If she were 50, she's what, I think 30, maybe 30, 29, 30. She's like 7 or 8 years younger than her husband. So she may be like 29 now. I could put it on youth, but if you were to see the video, I get the vibe, and just from watching their channel, that's just her personality. She doesn't like for people to, and a lot of people are like that. They don't like for people to question them, to lie on them, or lie about them. None of us like that. But some of us are more willing to prove that it's a lie. Some of us are more willing to prove that what is being said is not true. It's not factual. It's incorrect. And I don't know if I'm that willing to prove to people who one, don't know you. Two, if you were a millionaire, they're not going to do anything for you to help you. If you were broke and homeless, they aren't going to do anything for you to help you. So I don't see the need for validation. I really didn't see the need for validation. But again, she showed her checking accounts, 2 different checking accounts. And of course, she blotted out the information. And somebody, of course, there's always going to be that negative Nancy in the chat saying, that could be anybody's. That could be her husband's. Her first name is known, so she blotted out, and honestly, I think people know them, but she blotted out the last name, any other kind of identifying information. But the first name she knows, everybody knows. So she left that to prove that it was her statement, that they were her statements. But y'all, I just wanted to reach through the phone and say, and just put my hand over her statements and say, whose business is it? Whose business is it? Right, Miss Alice, there are too many crazy people on social media. It's too much information. And girl, Dad, that's so true. People will let me tell you, people will hone in on your stuff, zoom in with all types of devices. And, that's just the nosy nature of people. One, they're nosy. Two, they're evil. Because and I won't even say they're bored. They aren't bored. That's what's keeping them occupied. Doing things like that keeps them occupied. So, I mean, I felt the need to, I'm not gonna, you know how we always, over here, we always want to try to come from a non-hypocritical, standpoint. So I'm not gonna say I've never felt the need to prove something, but I've never felt the need to prove something so much so to the point where I would show my bank statements on social media. I've never felt that need. If anybody who comes across this video, I see it's like 4 or 5 people up and down, 4 or 5 people right now. YouTube, you've been pushing the vertical stream. Push this one, okay? Push this one. If you ever feel the need to justify your income, to justify your lifestyle, to justify the things that you do, before you do that to strangers, ask yourself, 1, why would you do it? Just a simple why. 2, what are you going to get out of it? 3, does it add to you, to your value? Does it add to your personality? Does it add to the things that you've accomplished and the hard work that you've done? So ask yourself those 3 questions. Why? What is it? What are you going to get out of it? Not what those who are looking, who you're validating yourself to, not them, because they're getting a hell of a lot out of it, okay? Though it's negative, they're getting a hell of a lot out of it. But why? Just simply, why would you do that? What would you get out of it? And does that validate you? Does it change? You've been successful. You've been successful, and you know this. Let that be the get back. You know what I'm saying? Without it even being a get back. Because they're questioning her. Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, I've shared the channel before, and I really love the channel because I know y'all hear me talk often about, let me see what Jill said. Yeah, that is too much, Jill. It's too much. Sassy says, hello, chat. I don't think it's anyone's business or be mentioned on social media. It's nobody's business if you work or not. Right. If I ever do a live, I would never ask or worry anyone. What? Right. Let me tell you, the things that I don't ask people their personal business, period. To me, where you live is your personal business. If I mention that on here, it's because somebody else has said it, and they've said it like numerous times. I don't ask people where they live. I don't ask people, if that's what they want to tell, that's that. I don't ask people where they live. I don't ask people, sometimes I might, when we're talking about vacationing and things like that, which, I talk about stuff like that. But I don't ask people where they live, unless it's like what country. But like as far as the city and state, and if I slip up and do it, I'll catch myself and say, I didn't mean to ask you that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Because, sometimes we get into like just a full-fledged conversation, and then it's like you're talking to people and you don't really, sometimes you ask something that you didn't intend to ask, or you ask something that you would have asked if you guys were face to face. And because y'all know sometimes when we're on here talking, it just feels like there's a camaraderie there that's like, I'll say we're YouTube friends, because some people don't refer to the people, they refer to people on YouTube as co-workers or fellow YouTubers. But, I do admit that sometimes there are many of us who are closer. If we live close, we'd hang out together. If we live closer, and some people literally do confide in each other on here. So, so I'm not discounting anybody's relationships, because that's a great thing. The app is to network. That's always been what I've thought social media was supposed to be for. To network, to build relationships. But it seems like a lot of people like to tear down relationships, and not only relationships, but they like to tear down people. And it's just awful. I would never, y'all, let me tell you, and it's more to it. It's more to it. Okay, she did that. People were in the chat saying, don't do this. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. I don't talk about. I try my best. Like I said, if I catch myself saying, where do you live? Usually if I say that, it's like I mean country-wise. But I don't talk about where people live, their city and state. I don't talk about their time zones even. I don't talk about that. And there are some questions people will ask me that I will just ignore. And then if you ask, my thing is, if you ask me something, okay, and you may think I missed it, because this is just a question. There may be quite a few comments. If you ask a second time, my motto, and I was always taught not to ask again. You know, honestly, I was taught after the first time, don't ask. But I understand that sometimes things get lost in the comments. Sometimes when we're looking, you may be on the top comments and you need to hit the all comments, vice versa, things like that. But whenever, to me, that's all personal. And if it's to be spoken of, a person is to say it themselves. Let me see. I can see a little bit better today, y'all. It's cloudy. It's nice. It's been raining. I see everybody's agreeing with the stats. Yeah, about asking people their personal business, right? People ask too much. Yes, Jill, absolutely. That is another thing that irks me. What makes people think that they have the authority to ask people's personal business? And some of them are so cocky about it. And they say something like, well, if you don't want to say, you don't have to say. Why would you ask? Have you not been taught and trained by your parents, by somebody, by your aunties? Like we talked about this before, there are a lot of things that some people, they may not have learned at home, but when you went to school, you learned at school to wash your hands. It is what it is. I ain't trying to be funny, but some people grow up in homes where they don't wash their hands. And that's the worst thing to me. I see as women, I see this all the time. People go into a bathroom, pop out of the stall, y'all, pop the door open like ain't nothing happened. Pop out of a stall. And, hey, hold up. Pop out. This one really irks me. Pop out of the stall, go into the mirror, fluff their hair, straighten their clothes, and walk out. Don't touch a drop of water and not a squirt of soap. So there are things but when you're in school, and I'll say old school, because sometimes these kids in school nowadays, the teachers are so, they're so on top of them to hurry up and get back to class. It takes an old school teacher these days, or a new school teacher with old school values. A new school teacher with old school values. Because, look, let me tell you, when my kids were little, people were giving them, y'all, have you ever been in the school? And I'm going to get back to the subject, but your kids, especially little girls, you ever gone to school and the teacher handed out the tissue, gave them like 2 squares of tissue? Ain't no way. When I learned that type of stuff could happen, hey, I gave my girls tissue, period. Tissue, enough tissue. Even when there was the Kleenex packs, or I would buy a lot of Kleenex and put them in Ziploc bags. You take this with you to the bathroom in case there's no tissue, and in case that there's a teacher holding the tissue, giving you 2 squares of tissue. Now, any woman worth her grain of grit would know that 2 squares of tissue is not enough for a little girl. I don't care if she's a kindergarten. Yes, kids do things in school, they play, but that's not a big. And sometimes, sometimes you can go in a public place and there's been adults in there and the toilet is stuffed with tissue. Adults do that. So my thing is, teach the kids. You teach the kids. You don't stuff this toilet with toilet paper. You use what you need. You don't play with it. You use what you need. And then sometimes it's not if you walk into a bathroom as a teacher and a kid's leaving out of the stall, sometimes they didn't even leave the big mess. Sometimes it's like the best stall they could find, and they had to try to use the bathroom the best they could. I always tell my kids, if all the stalls are dirty, go to the next bathroom, because most schools have more than one bathroom, and try to stay in a safe place, because sometimes you have kindergarten through 5, then you have 6 through 8 or something like that. And or go back to the teacher and let her know it's just too nasty. And any decent woman, I don't care what color you are, how you look, what age you are, you're not going to make a child use a nasty restroom. But I always, I don't have that problem, or they may have encountered it, but they always just tried to use the best one. And they always just tried to, even if they were all dirty, they would try to maybe flush with their foot or something and just make it work. But I told them, just call me. And if you ever had an accident, don't be ashamed. I mean, it's easy to tell a kid don't be ashamed, but y'all, sometimes people just don't care. You can have janitors that clean up, and then you have people who haven't taught their kids to flush. So That's why I say I've seen people just go out of the stall, not even wash their hands. Just the nastiest thing ever. Imagine they probably the first one want to cook for the potluck. And y'all, we talk about cats and dogs. I'd rather be dealing with the cats and dogs than to be dealing with that, because you're a human. You know better. But anyway, y'all, back to the subject. That just grinds my gears when I think about that. And I was talking about you've been taught things. And yeah, you have been taught that you don't need to justify or, the things that you do to everybody. That's why I try not to ask people where they're from. You never know who's listening. Right, Jill, right. Sassy says, I'm about to walk into that thing. Lion's Pride. Your life is always positive and motivated. I try to be, Sassy. I try to be, or I try to talk about topics like this, to try to kind of help people feel, just to know. Social media, what do you owe social media? Jill says, yes, they are, Sassy. Jill, right. Yeah, like what do you owe social media? Thank you, Alice. Alice says, I have to go. Enjoy the rest of your walk, Lion's Pride, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Alice. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I appreciate you for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming. Like I said, YouTube is not pushing us out. Some of us, they're pushing some people, but some of us not. Sometimes it'll kind of cut down because they started this in February. So hopefully it'll start back up. But it doesn't matter because I got to walk anyway, and I want to always continue to come on here and encourage people. They weren't doing it last year, so, YouTube does different things. So we got to take advantage of the good things that they do when they do them and appreciate that. But y'all, whoever's still here, it just rubbed me the wrong way so much. Like, to see the people do it was one thing. I've been watching them. They do it to almost all content creators. You're going to have people who are trolls, and some of them aren't trolls. Some of them are just evil. They enjoy coming back. You can check their channel. They've been on the app for years and years, and that's just what they do. But she had tears in her eyes. She showed all these receipts, and she was just bumping and bumping and bumping her baby. You guys know what it is like when they say don't spoil that baby. She was just rocking and rocking the baby, and she was trying to prove all this stuff. And I'm like, why are you trying to prove anything to people who already don't respect you anyway? Either they don't respect you, put it like this, they don't respect you. But I don't care what they say and what they ask, they respect her hustle. They respect her work ethic. They respect her grind. And a lot of it is jealousy and envy. As with everything that people do when they dislike you or when they have for no reason or when they try to bring you down, what does it always boil down to, you guys? Jealousy and envy. Jealousy and envy. Jealousy and envy. It always boils down to that. But she was just trying to justify. And so, now this is, I don't know which one is the kicker. I don't know if her just trying to justify it is the kicker or her, y'all, explaining her husband's situation. People in the chat were telling her, don't put your husband down. Don't put your husband down. Because see, in an attempt to validate herself, she was putting him down, and she didn't even understand that she was putting him down. There was nothing wrong with saying he's a working class man. He loves to go work. Haven't we all as women wanted a working class man, a man who goes to work, whether it's construction or the business office? We want a man that works, right? We want a man whose goal is to take care of his family. That's what we want. So we all want that. We all want that. But what she did in validating herself and talking about the things that she does that allows her to stay at home every day, the social media, the teaching other people how to be successful on social media, the teaching people how to deal, how to manage their finances. Those are things that she does. And like I said, she has classes on this. So in validating herself and just, pounding that into the ground, what she does, why she's so successful and why she makes the money she makes, she starts to say, my husband, I don't depend on my husband. Yes, I'm an African-American young woman, and he's a young Caucasian man, but I'm not getting a free, easy ride. He's not he's not her sugar daddy. Which, that's something to be proud of with any man if you carry your own weight and he carries his. That's something to be proud of no matter what color. But I understand why she was addressing the color, because some of the comments have been so nasty and rude. I've seen the comments, and they've, oh, she used to be a dancer and he married her. And so she explained that when she met her husband, he was a bouncer. So she said, not to say that he couldn't have been filthy rich, but come on, what? He wasn't filthy rich. She told where he was from. And of course, it was a state that's kind of known for hard work, you know, just to kind of like back in the day. You know how I was asking you guys one day, do you watch Little House on the Prairie? Have you ever watched Little House on the Prairie? Kind of think of that, like the frontier type guy. Or like if you think of Good Times, the way James Evans would work. Jill says, good night, Alice. Sassy says, agreed, Jill. People seem to try to give way too much of themselves for the love of money. Jill, I wish I cannot pin that. I don't know if you can pin it on here. But that is absolutely right. She was giving too much of herself for the love of money. Now, she wasn't throwing it in our face. She doesn't do that on a regular basis. But what happens is the comments get to her. And I can understand the comments getting to you. But you have to develop a willpower that's, you have to develop a strength about it. If you're going to be a social media influencer on her level, you cannot come out here and do the things that you do. Because what are they going to say? The first thing that they always say is that, oh, well, you put your life on social media. Okay, well, she does. And the fact that she acts silly and y'all think that she's ghetto, I don't feel like there was anything wrong with her coming live and saying, no, you've got it wrong. I've always lived in the suburbs. I'm not ghetto. Some of the things that I do is culture related. We're all Americans, but hey, let's face it, we're different cultures. The African American culture is quite a unique culture. Okay, it is what it is. It's often imitated. People may get upset, but what I'm saying is the truth. Okay, the Caucasian culture, if that's the right way to say it, have their unique attributes. Every culture has their way of being unique. That's what makes us all great. And a lot of times that's what makes us so interesting to each other. Sassy says, agreed, Jill, just keep your private life off social media. Right. Jill says, I think I know who you're talking about. Yes, I want, right, Sassy, but sadly her private life is her content. And that's the thing. Some of her private life, she's gone into like a great deal of it and made it content. But because she gets so emotional, and I know sometimes she gets lonely because they're in a place, there aren't a lot of people there who look like her. But at the same time, she has an outgoing personality and she makes it work. So I really just don't understand. Even though she has that great personality, she's very talented. There is still something within her that feels the need to validate herself to strangers. So she has made her private. Like I said, the only thing she probably hadn't told, and she's even told certain cities that they lived in, certain cities and states. So it's like, as soon as you it's just like when you give a person that inch, what do? They take a mile. So also when people ask for an inch, they ask for a mile. The next thing they ask for is a mile. Jill says, once you open those doors, people always will want Jill. Yes. And it was so, and the sad thing about it is I didn't say a word because you know how it is when you have some people who feel like they're so smart, but you can't tell them anything. It's like she's so smart, but you can't tell her anything. Like I don't see her listening. And at this point, at the way the comments have treated her, she probably thinks everything is against her, unless it's exactly something she agrees with. But some things you don't have to agree with to just listen to a person sometimes. Say, for instance, if the three of us, you, Jill, me, Sassy, we went into her chat. Say if we went into her chat and she was doing all that, what she did last week, and we said, hey, look, You're doing too much. And we're not coming from a place of bitterness. We're not coming from a place of envy. We're coming from a place of you need to protect your family and yourself. And you need to protect your peace. If we had said it's okay that your husband has come from wherever and you have come from whatever, but why are you explaining this to the hundreds, and I mean hundreds of people that are often in your chat, and even the hundreds who aren't there who will watch this later? Yet sassy, yes, I get that. I like her. I like the channel. I like the family. But she comes off as a know-it-all, and I'm just going to be honest. I'm not saying I still like her, you know what I'm saying? But she comes off as a know-it-all. And she's raising the kids to kind of be the same way. You know how, like, it's cute when your kids are very knowledgeable, and it's cute when your kids are well-spoken, but it's not so cute when they know too much grown business. That's not so cute. They're coming off as knowing too much grown business. I love to hear a child sound intellectual. Yes, Jill. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, big-headed. I love to hear a child sound intellectual. It impresses me because there are so many adults who who don't even stand up, who don't match up to the way some of these kids sound. And then there are so many adults who don't even try. You know, they don't even try. Exactly, Sassy. It's a time and place for everything. Jill says, I sometimes stop myself from saying certain things. Yes, so people won't figure out my personal information. Right, right. I just, but and I'm saying this stuff not because I'm trying to ridicule her or bash her or anything in any way. I'm saying it because I just wish she would listen to the comments. Y'all, so many people love the family. And there are so many comments in her comment section that are steering her the right way. But because she's a know-it-all, it's like during that live, right? Some people were coming off as blatantly rude. And some people were coming off as with that slick rudeness. And she knew it. She was catching the slick rudeness. But what I realized and what I noticed in that live is that there was one particular person being slick rude that she kept interacting with and kept saying, I know you've been here before, and I think you're being a little facetious or something. I can't quote her verbatim, but it was like she kind of knew they were coming off a little. And he probably wasn't, because I can't remember exactly what he was saying. But I do know that he was kind of saying some of the things that we're saying, but maybe using a few different words, maybe the tone, maybe it was coming off a little bit harsher. And so, but she interacted with that person and was even waiting out of all those comments, was waiting to see his comments. But then there were other comments who were in a very pleasant way saying, you shouldn't do this. Well, I am going to do this. There's nothing wrong with doing this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing it, but look at the situation. Look at how you feel right now. Look at how you feel right now. And y'all, I don't like to make other people's content, my content, in a type of way where you're blasting them, you're making thumbnails about them and stuff like that. But I will take certain situations that they present on here and use them as topics of discussion. Because I just feel like when people say content creator, the term content creator, YouTube, I think of the you in tube. It should be about you or something you like or something you enjoy. I don't think it should be me running to somebody else's channel waiting for them to release videos. I don't think that. But as I watch YouTube, as I watch the things, because her channel she has the right thing, she's just doing it kind of the wrong way, in my opinion. And if she doesn't feel like it's the wrong way, then people are going to ask, well, if you don't feel like you're doing it the wrong way, why are you coming on here angry? If you don't feel like you're doing it the wrong way, thank you, Jill. Please thumbs up the live. If you come across this live, I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell. I call it my doorbell, so that you'll be notified every time I go live or upload a short. I would greatly appreciate it. And we're trying to be motivational over here, uplifting and encouraging. And I want you guys to watch my legs move so that maybe you'll be encouraged to move. Some people say they just like to watch my legs move, and I appreciate that because they're watching your feet and your legs move. And it just kind of maybe helps encourage them to be, more active. But we do have conversation, and I just saw that as a conversation, as a, it was a good topic. Like I said, I'm not going to use that person's name. I will kind of describe the channel, and like Jill kind of figured it out. But we're not bashing over here. We're not downing any over here. We're trying to figure out ways that, to, especially as we're older than she is, I know. And, sometimes you have to, people, your peers, your own age, you have to encourage them. But just to see her acting like that, and just to know that she needs some direction. She needs some direction. Hi, Marie. Thank you for coming over, showing support. I appreciate it. She truly needs some direction. And I don't know, her mom has probably tried to talk to her. Her dad is a minister. They probably tried to talk to her. But like I said, if you ever watch her channel, she comes off as educated and knowledgeable. She is. She's educated, she's knowledgeable. But she comes off as a know-it-all. And everything that she says is right. Every way she wants to do it is right. And I'm like, young lady, you're like 28 years old, 29 years old. I'm sure you've had some experiences. You've been married. This is your second marriage. I'm sure there are a lot of things that you could teach probably a 38-year-old. But at the same time, you should never come on this app. There are things that other people, maybe even an 18-year-old, can teach you. You never come on this app and try to justify or validate to people. You don't do that. You showed, y'all, when she showed that statement where she made $18,000 in March. Well, no, April, over 17,000 in March, and then 9,000 in February. I was like, this girl knows social media, and her other streams of income obviously are successful. But you're on here, you're on YouTube, you're in tears because people say that you're ghetto and you're a stay-at-home African-American mom who's just living off this Caucasian male husband. And so, that made her want to validate who she was to strangers. And not only in that, I got to get back to the second part. When she was lifting herself up, they were telling her, don't tear your husband down. Y'all, he's so loving. And Jill, if you know who I'm talking about, you know that man gets on this app and he does things that you couldn't make. Maybe if you encountered 5 men right now just in passing, you wouldn't be able to make them get on this app and do the things that he does with her to support her. But she was talking about, oh, he's a hard worker, but kind of basically like he's a kind of ragamuffin. He likes the pioneer type, or like I said, like the James Evans type. He's gonna work. And the fact that he works for somebody. And she said she wasn't tearing him down, but the tone that she used, it was like a put down. It was like, because she said, I don't have to work for anybody. And I'm saying to myself, even when you're on this app working, you're working for somebody. We're all working for ourselves, of course, because we need to make a living. We need to take care of our families. We need to take care of ourselves. But if the fact that they've allowed this platform for you to make those amounts of money that you've shown, you're working for somebody. If they shut the platform down now, that source of income would be gone. That particular source of income would be gone. So for her to say, oh, I don't work for anybody, I work for myself, I do this. Yes, you are an entrepreneur, but you're working off of apps though. The apps have provided us a platform that sometimes some of us make it big and we do well. And some of us, we're just on here for fun. But you have made it a successful source of income for you. And just because you don't have to clock in and clock out, don't put your husband down because he does. Nobody else's business at all, Sassy. Thank you, Jill, for welcoming Marie. And y'all go over there and check out Marie. Y'all know I always, of course, check out Jill and Sassy, Betty, Girl Dad, everybody who comes through my chat who supports and they're content creators. Please check them out. We know that you can't always be there, but be there when you can. Or, give a thumbs up sometimes. If it's been a few weeks, leave a comment. Just say, hey, I'm still watching something. You don't even have to say you've been busy. Because what are we talking about? Validating ourselves. You don't have to validate yourself to people you've never met and will probably never meet. Okay? Some you will, some you will, you know, and this is a place to network. But I just felt so, y'all, I don't even know how to say it. I didn't feel bad. I just felt like, I almost felt like, I felt kind of disappointed. Disappointed because she is smart, you know. Heck, the bank statements speak for themselves. She is smart. But all millionaires aren't smart. Aren't smart. Some people just happen to, you know, some people just happen to be at the right place at the right time. Or some people just happen to say the right thing at the right time. You know, every millionaire doesn't have to be the smartest person in the world. They have to be smart enough to acquire what they have and to maintain it. Because as we know, a lot of people don't maintain it once they acquire it, right? It's just so, right, Jill, some insecurities about herself. And that's what I was getting to. The point about her putting the husband down, and she couldn't even stop for a minute to pause to realize that, yes, you are putting him down. She kept saying, I'm not putting him down. I'm telling the truth. He goes and works for people. I work for myself. I taught him. She talked about basically his financial situation being in shambles almost. I don't think she used the word shambles, but basically his financial situation wasn't too good. And she basically put him on track. And I'm like, okay, did we need to know that? And then she throws it in every maybe 10 minutes or so, because this was a long video. It was like an hour. Y'all, it had my attention. It was like over an hour. And I listened when I couldn't sit and watch. I was listening. And I was like, okay. So she said people are in the chat, women and men, telling her that you don't feel like you're putting your husband down because you're so busy trying to justify the fact that you don't work and you're a stay-at-home mom. You're trying to justify the fact that you have a nanny. You're trying to justify. And then how do you think the nanny feels? This is a video. There's a short. And some kind of way in the short, it's mentioned that when you stay at home or when you learn this because you have a Latino nanny or Hispanic nanny or something like that. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you were going to even talk about it, you just could have said, I do, because you have a nanny. If you're trying to be cute and funny, why did you have to say that she was a Latino, or I can't remember if she said Hispanic. I think she said Hispanic nanny. Why did you have to say that? So don't you realize the way you feel when you hear those things in the comments about you being a ghetto African-American woman who doesn't know how to, handle being married to a Caucasian man? How does that make you feel? So how do you think that the nanny feels when she sees these shorts? The nanny is standing right there. She knows that she has a YouTube channel. I think she's maybe even going out with the nanny. So when the nanny has to be your friend, what if somebody came up with that? When the nanny has to be your friend because nobody wants to be friends with you. Just imagine. Sassy says, all I can do is say too much. Right. Jill says, now I don't know who you're talking about. I thought I did at first. Yeah, she's about 28, 29 years old. Her husband is about 35, I think. They've been together quite some time now, maybe 8 years or so. She had 2 kids from a previous marriage, and now they have 2 together. And so he's kind of like, I'll say, I won't say the state that they've said, but think kind of not Midwest, kind of northern West. How they had those, back in the days, like I said, you think about Little House on the Prairie or something. People were hard workers. They worked hard. They got their hands dirty. He's a hard worker, but he also works hard with her to make her social media be successful. So when she says that, I'm thinking to myself, she talks about how he has to work like that and she doesn't. Well, what if you didn't have this particular husband? Not to say her social media wouldn't be successful, but would her social media be as successful as it is had it been any other man? And I'm not just saying, like, if it had been a black husband. Had it been a different white husband, would her social media be as successful? Because he really supports her in her efforts. He really supports her. But y'all, it was just disappointing to the things that she said. It was disappointing because at her age, she should have listened to the ladies, some of the young women in the comment section, and she should have listened to the men in the comment section. Because she did all this for about half this was just throughout the live to validate herself. I'm not ghetto. I act ghetto because when I act that way, that's what you guys like to see. So now some of you, because some of the comments have been harmful and hurtful, emotionally, mentally harmful and hurtful. They have been. But my thing is, you're such a smart person. Don't you know? Just block them. And when they continue to do that stuff, you got to ignore them because you always speak about how smart you are. You said that you got your husband back on the road to financial literacy, so you teach these classes. I would think that by now you would have understood that you have some insecurities that need to be addressed. She has some insecurities, like Jill said, and I was getting around to that when I started talking about her husband. She couldn't even understand that she was putting her husband down while she was lifting herself, while she was validating herself to the chat. And people were saying, listen, I almost said her name. People were saying, you can do that without putting him down. She didn't even understand the concept. So then it makes you kind of wonder, like, I give you credit for being smart. So what is it? Did we give you too much credit? Or is it that you're smart, but your insecurities outweigh your insecurities and your need to feel validated outweigh your perception when it comes to how you sound right now and how you look talking about your husband? Jill said, same here, Sassy. Girl, Dad, it was just like there were men in the chat. And I know, what is it? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But there are a lot of things that men, when women address men, there are a lot of things. It's like, what did Steve Harvey say? Think like a man, act like a woman. I can't think like a man, but I can think like a human being. And I know had it been the flip, the reverse, had a man been doing, had her husband been doing it, I would feel the same way. There's no man worth his grit. And I think the story continues. I think it caused a big rift because you don't put your man down. And like I said, she was so into feeling, finding and searching and proving. She was so, into just validating herself to these strangers. She didn't realize that the words that she was saying were put downs. And then she say, I'm not putting him down. That is the truth. If it is the truth, it's not a put down. Well, it is a put down when it comes to, what do we always say? Tone is everything. Tone is everything. Being tactful is everything. She could have said the same things that she said without basically putting him down, because I felt like it was a put down. And there are some things men feel certain ways that we don't agree with, and there are things we feel certain ways that they don't agree with. But at the end of the day, I think as humans, nobody and everybody can identify when they're being put down. And I don't know a man that would not have looked at that as a put down. To talk about your husband being from kind of like farm country or whatever. Not a lot going on there. That's why he was where he was when you met him, and just trying to do things or whatever. That all could be true, but that wasn't for our ears. That wasn't for our ears. And if it was going to be for us, you could have said it in a better tone. You could have said it in a positive tone. You could have been like, well, my husband is from small town nowhere, Louisville, Tuieville, Mississippi, whatever. You could have, whatever, Outback. It's not just poverty-stricken areas in the States. You could have said anywhere. But you could have, and at that point, you could have said, but guess what he did? And you took it from there. And so when I met him, he was telling me about this. And you could have took it from there. And I was from whatever, whatever. And now we're successful. Because every so often she would say, would I exchange my husband? No. Am I proud of the man that he is? Yes. Am I glad that he's my husband? Yes. But at the same time, you're arguing with people who are telling you in the chat that to them, you sound like you're putting him down. And she was wanting to go more back and forth with those people than address the people who were being positive. That's why I say misery loves company. And if you fall into their lounge and you sit there and you stay there, that's the goal. So she fell into the misery lounge of the chat. The chat had more people who were happy and being positive. It was like a positive lounge and a misery lounge, a happy lounge. Y'all know I say the misery lounge, right? I'm going to probably do a misery lounge. Link our channel, but I probably do happy lounge because misery just sounds too bad. But people are in a misery lounge sometimes. And if they could get you to come and visit them in that lounge, they're going to try to keep you there. And it was like that day, that live, she started the live off wrong. And so when the people who were in the misery section saw it, they were already there waiting. They jumped on it. And the positive lounge, to be honest, the happy lounge was much bigger. But her validation was so important to her that she couldn't even see it. She couldn't even see it. She's smart but still young. Right, Jill? Sassy says, hey, girl, dad. Jill says, thanks, hon. Sorry I kept you guys on so long. Jill, that time flew by so fast I didn't even notice the time. So, yeah, time flies when you're talking about something that's fun or that's important. And so, because I wasn't going to be on here, I was going to be like 30 minutes, and it's been an hour. But, and it's still just a lot that could be said about that video. So when she would read a positive comment, she didn't even take it to be positive. Because some of the positive comments were like, don't do this. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't share this in this way. Yes, I should, because these people need to know that type of response. Why do these people need to know? Why are you so insecure that you feel like you need to be validated? Do you think that everybody in your comment section is going to be happy for you? Do you think that everybody in your comment section is going to say something positive? We all know that that's not the case. We talk about that all the time. Like, get them out of here. Like, get them out of here. Do you feel like everybody, y'all, she's done shorts where she's taken snippets of the comments that were negative and addressed them in the shorts. You know, like if they called her ghetto or something, she'd take the comment that called her ghetto and just show out in the shorts. You do that kind of stuff, and then now you want to have a real conversation where you're not really being realistic, but to you it's a real conversation. And you're upset because people are telling you you share too much personal. You share too much of your personal. Hey, Brilliant. Hey, Brilliant. Let me mute for a second, y'all. Okay, so it's like the people that were being positive were trying to get you to understand that you're tearing down your husband as you lift yourself up. And you're not really even lifting yourself up. You're trying to validate yourself to strangers. So you're tearing down your husband while talking about the positive attributes that you have. You're tearing down your husband. So I just did not. So that's why the live today, I said validation. Like, how many of you guys, and I'm not, like I said, I'm human. I felt the need to say, oh, that's not me, or to sometimes explain myself. But experience teaches you that that's not necessary. In some cases, it is. But I'm saying, generally speaking, you don't have to validate yourself to anybody on social media. When you start to do that, it's like you guys have been saying earlier, you're giving too much. The more you give, the more people want. And honestly, depending on the person, like with her situation, it seems like the more she gives, the more she continues to give. Thank you, Brilliant, for speaking to everybody. I appreciate you, sis. So the more you continue giving, y'all, it was just so sad to see the baby. You know, the baby's just, I mean, a baby maybe like, I don't know if he's 5 months, but y'all, he is like, I can tell if he's gonna be anything like his brother, he's gonna be fast. He's gonna be fast. He's gonna be quick. He's gonna be a handful. He's gonna be like a quick learner. So I know she's smart. You can tell the way her kids speak, the way they react. Like I said, sometimes they do a little bit too much. Sometimes they act like they're adults, and it's not cute. When kids act a certain way, sometimes we call it cute. And it can be, but not all the time. It can be, but not all the time. Certain things aren't cute. Certain things are just a little bit too grown. And so she's having this conversation in front of her 3-year-old. Maybe he's 2. I think he's 2, 3, something like that. She's having this conversation in front of him. And I think her other son. And so I'm just really conflicted. I don't know. I'm just really disappointed, kind of like, because I know she's smart, but she's somewhat immature. But they always show themselves in a loving way around the kids. And see that, and everybody loves that. Like they show themselves being affectionate and showing love to the kids, to each other, around the kids. The dad is great at teaching the boys, because she has 4 boys. Teaching the boys how a man should be with a woman. And, I know sometimes people think that's old school, but I'm like this. I'm a woman. Men have testosterone, okay? They're gonna be stronger. And it ain't nothing like a good old man treating you gently. I don't care what nobody says. I know people do things and they live this way and they live that way and they believe this and they believe that. Now, when it comes to work, my theory is always going to be that if you can do the same work, the pay should be the same. That's just like if a man can be a teacher, why should a female teacher make more? If a man can be a nurse, why should a woman make more? So if a woman can work construction, why should the man make more? Unless they've gotten promotions, that's different. But at the end of the day, when you talk about relationships, it ain't nothing wrong with a man flexing that testosterone. I don't care what nobody say. Brilliant says, very much needed topic. Girl dad speaking of brilliant. Sassy says, oh no, not in front of the kids. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not like that. Sassy says, oh, no, right? No, it's very respectful. It's very respectful. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing, and even with the kisses and stuff, it's nothing wrong with that. When she was pregnant, he would caress her stomach. They would let them caress her stomach. It's just like, she wants the picture perfect marriage, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I can tell by the way those comments get to her, when she and her husband have a dispute, oh my gosh, it's probably chaos. It's probably chaos. I can tell she loves him. I can tell he loves her. If they don't love each other, y'all, they deserve Oscars. I'm telling you. They deserve Academy Awards if they don't love each other. You can tell they love each other. When they're affectionate around the kids, I like it, because they're teaching those 4 boys the way they should treat a woman. And like I said, I don't care how much we're into that equal rights and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm into equal rights. Like I said, sometimes you have male nurses who will get paid more than female nurses because male nurses can lift, or you have some places that just pay male nurses less, even though they can lift. I feel like male nurses and female nurses should be paid the same. Now, living in reality, yes, some places pay male nurses more. Will I be mad because a male makes $1.50 more than a female? Both of them just graduated. Not if they're expecting him to do a little bit more. No, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad. Teachers. Am I going to be mad because it's called like gender-dominated fields, right? I have a cousin that wants to be a nurse. He wants to be a nurse. And I told him, sometimes you may not make as much as the women, but most times you will make the same, and then many times you will make a little bit more. And I mean, I just said the testosterone, well, heck, the testosterone, I mean, it is what it is. A lot of times women nurses don't want to be in there helping lift and pull. And a man nurse, they don't want to do it either, but they can. And they're expected to do it at times. So they get a little bit more. Okay? Construction site. Let's take it this. You're both entry level. The woman advances a little bit more quickly. She's in a supervisory role. Somebody that was hired with her, now she's making $5 more. $3, $4, $5 more. Well, she's in a supervisory role. Is he going to be happy? Are the men going to be happy about it? No. But hey, she's in the supervisory role just like your homeboy over there. He's making $5 more and you're not bothered by that. So to me, it just, it just depends on what the job demands, what the work demands, what they're asking of you. Sometimes you got to give people a little bit more. Say 2023, they started off in a job paying $20 an hour. Still can't get anybody to start working. Still can't get anybody to work. Okay, let's say, okay, we're going to increase it a little bit to 22. Now, do I expect for the people there to get a raise? Yes, because nobody's going to be satisfied knowing that they've been on the job a year and then somebody walks in doing the same thing, making $22. Okay, both entry level or whatever level. If it's the same, nobody's going to like that. That's one reason they tell you don't discuss your pay. And it goes back to her. Why did you discuss your pay on YouTube? Why did you discuss your pay on YouTube? In an effort to validate yourself, you put your husband down. And when we tried to say to you that you were putting your husband down, y'all, she kept giving the same response. How am I putting him down when it's the truth? That was the response. Thank you, brilliant. Yes, like button. Hit those 3 dots at the top right and thumbs it up, thumbs it up, thumbs it up. Jill says, I just got in the door, still listening, but about to start dinner. Okay, Jill, I'm about to get out of here in a little while because it's been over an hour. But I just wanted to ask you guys that, and anybody who comes across this replay, have you ever felt the need to validate yourself to strangers, maybe even to family and friends? Have you ever felt that need? And it's not going to be surprising if you felt that need, because sometimes we all feel the need to say, hey, no, wait a minute, let me straighten this out. Sometimes it's warranted, it's needed. But there are certain things that you should know that you don't have to validate to strangers. You don't have to validate your actions. You don't have to validate to strangers. And all this boils down to, y'all, was that people are in her comment sections regularly saying, oh, she's just a stay-at-home ghetto mom, or they're going to end up with 15 kids, or, if she ends up with 15 kids, he had a decision in it, right? And sometimes they say racist things, and sometimes they just say stereotypical things like toward women, but it gets to her so much. It gets to her so badly. And I can understand it getting to her, but what made me pump my brakes and say, but don't allow these people saying these things cause you to expose yourself. Don't allow what these people say make you expose yourself. So y'all, thank you for listening. I might have more conversations like that. Of course, you guys know that the goal is to get you guys to move at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, preferably 7 days a week. But we all need a break sometimes. So start off with 15. If 30 is too much for you, start off with 15. But the whole time we've been talking, I've been walking. We don't have to walk briskly all the time. We can. And, just go at your own pace. But just make sure that there's a degree of consistency. Make sure that there's a degree of consistency. Make it be so that you'll want to do more and continue, okay? Let's see. I'm going to read some of the comments that I know I kind of missed some of them. Okay, I saw Jill said that she just got in the door. Yes, Jill. What you about to prepare for dinner, Jill? Because y'all know I've been running my mouth. Because that's just really, like I said, I like her. I like the content creator. I'm going to continue to watch. Oh, and this is the last part, y'all. So as of right now, after that video, she did another video, maybe like late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. 2 to 3 minutes. She was really kind of quiet. She looked really sad, not distraught. She looked really sad. And she said she thanked all the subscribers and said it's been real. And she appreciated everybody and kind of like peace out. And I was like, what? So that right there tells me that her husband saw that live. Some people are thinking that it's just a storyline, but no, the hurt feelings that I saw her express were real. The things she addressed were real. She's addressed them before. So will she turn it into a storyline and to come back? I don't know. But it was real. And I think the best thing that she can, I think the best, excuse me, y'all, it was a loud truck. I think the best thing that she can do is, it was real. It wasn't a fake storyline. So I think the best thing she could do is to keep it real. To keep it real. Right. Forget what people say. Most of them probably jealous. Right. Right. Bree says, Sassy Jill Lines Fire. I pray you great women of power had an amazing Mother's Day. Much love and respect to you, queens. We did. I did. I know I did. And I believe Jill did and Sassy did as well. I'm so happy to have had a great Mother's Day. Brilliant. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day as well. You got grilled chicken salad? Okay, Jill, that sounds good. Jill says, thanks, Brilliant, and the same to you. That sounds good, grilled chicken salad. So yeah, y'all, it just kind of irked me. It made me, I felt sad for her, but it mostly irked me. And I think it became irksome because I saw so many people in the comment section trying to explain to her that she didn't need to explain to them. I saw so many people trying to explain to her that she didn't need to explain to them. And she was just too hard-headed, too much of a know-it-all. And it seemed as if she wanted to engage more in the negative comments. She engaged more in the negative comments, and she engaged more in the comments, because there are three types of comments. There are negative comments, there are positive comments, and there are positive comments. Negative comments, self-explanatory. Positive comments, self-explanatory. But then there are positive comments that had an extra grain of positivity because they agree with everything she said. There could be a difference. The positivity can be different, It's okay to be positive. But when you're being positive, when positivity means you're just agreeing with everything they say, how positive can that truly be? How positive can that truly be? Because the positive comments were telling her, don't put your husband down in order to lift yourself up. And even if you're not doing it in order to lift yourself up, you're doing it in order to justify your need for validation. So there were negative comments, like I said, self-explanatory. There were positive comments that were keeping it real, that she didn't cling to those. She was clinging to the negative, and she was clinging to the positive comments that totally agreed with her. So honestly, that was only positive from her perspective. That would have been just positive from her perspective. But us as as subscribers watching, I felt bad for her, and I felt like you made this worse. You made it worse. So thank you guys for listening. I'm going to see what happens, and I'll give y'all an update. Because again, after that long live last week, it may have been even Thursday or Friday, she came back kind of like late Saturday, early Sunday night. And of course, people are saying that it's not clickbait, but just like a storyline. I really don't know. There was a there was realness in those tears when she was explaining, and in that anger, and in that rejection, because she was rejecting everything that people were telling her that would really help her. She was only accepting the negative comments because that's what got her going. That's what she was mad about anyway. And she was accepting the positive comments that were positive in light that they agreed with her. So we're going to see what happens. She came on, did that live in a car by herself. A lot of the people who really care about her were worried. And she just said, it's been real. Thank you guys. And kind of peace out. And of course, people are like, that's not fair to us. That's not fair to those of us who encourage you. That's not fair to those of us who are in your membership. You've come out here and you shared all this, and we tried to teach you and tell you that it wasn't right. And even when she said, kind of like see you later or peace out, whatever, it's like you could tell that there was a discussion had, and the husband wasn't feeling it. I could be wrong, but she was so, hotsy-totsy and gung-ho on standing on what she said, and it was the way she said at the first live. But then the second live, it looked like a person maybe who had been doing some long, hard thinking, and they really just came on the live to say, peace out. I appreciate you guys. That sounds like I'm about to end my channel. And I hope that's not the case. And if that is the case, I hope she changes her mind. And I hope that she's just more mindful, first of her family and her husband, of herself, and less mindful about what people think and that need for validation. So I thank you guys for coming through. Y'all know what I wish you. I wish you peace, positivity, and prosperity. Without peace, there's chaos. Without positivity, of course, there's negativity. And you see that wherever chaos and negativity breed, that's an example. You fail to prosper to your fullest potential, because she has all the money she could probably want right now. But she came back and said, bye, y'all. Like, kind of, I don't know, just peace out. It's been good. Now you're letting this need for validation tamper on your prosperity. Tamper on your prosperity. So you have a good night, Sassy. Have a good night, Jill. Brilliant. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys for coming through. Girl, Dad, have a good night. Betty came through here. Y'all, we didn't have any trolls. So that's a good thing about them not pushing the that's a good thing about them not pushing the vertical streaming as much. Like I said, I think everybody kind of gets a turn. I've seen people complain that it's not going so well. Like I'm complaining now, because a lot of times it's trolls that they don't say anything, but it helps with your views. So all I can do is say I do still appreciate it, and hopefully it'll come back around. It'll come back around. Jill says, have a great night. Sassy says, people do anything for view. That's right, Jill. And I'm certainly hoping that that's not what it was about. Like I said, I could tell the cry was real. But hey, sometimes people are great actors. They are great actors. Jill says, great live. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate that. Well-seared chicken and salad, because I'm not grilling anything. Jill, that's the best way. That seared chicken. Let's look at Bria. Says, Jill, that salad sounds good, sis. Bria says she had a very blessed Mother's Day. That's good. That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. Make sure your notifications are set to all. Thank you, Brilliant. Don't miss this positive walk time with us. Right. That's what we want it to be. We want it to be positive. We want it to be encouraging, uplifting, motivational, and educational. And what I'm trying to express today is, I know we're human. We can always say don't when it comes to the negativity. And I think, again, each of us have probably at some point felt the need to validate ourselves, even if we didn't think that that's what we were doing. But don't do it. Don't do it. And be open. Be open to listening to people who are trying to help you. While prayers up for whoever the queen is, sounds like she is dealing with some behind the scenes major issues, praying she is getting the right support. Right, Brilliant, right. It's what it is she's just letting a lot of what these people on social media think affect her emotional state and affect her marriage. Because the way when she was saying it was over or it's done or whatever, however she kind of like ended it like that, people were like, is it the marriage? I mean, have they broken up? Like, is she talking about the channel? Is he making her drop the channel? Okay, y'all, sorry about that. I muted because that music was loud. We appreciate you, sis. Thank you, Bree. I appreciate each and every one of you guys too as well. You know I do. And like I always say, don't let bothered people bother you, and don't let stressed people stress you out. Because we talked about a prime example of both today, okay? We talked about a prime example of both today. So I will see you guys on the next Let's Walk and Talk. Hopefully, with the Lord's will, that will be tomorrow. Y'all have a great, a wonderful, and peaceful night. And again, y'all, I just feel the need to say that again. Don't let bothered people bother you. I feel like that's what she did. Don't let stressed people stress you. It's going to happen anyway, you know. in your day-to-day activities, in your life off of here. Don't let them do it. When you see it start to happen here, just like I say every time, if you're at Walmart, if you're at someone's home, a family member, a friend's, wherever, if it starts to stress you, turn around and leave. Turn around and leave. Doesn't mean you won't go back to Walmart. No. Doesn't mean you won't ever go back to that family member's house. No. Maybe a long time. No. Doesn't mean you won't ever visit that friend. No. So it doesn't mean you have to leave your platform, but just take you a break. Just take you a break. Take you a break. And we all have insecurities, some more than others. Don't let people know that they're playing on your insecurities. Okay? Don't go and spend time in their misery lounge. Stay in your happy lounge. Even when your lounge isn't always happy, it's yours. You dictate how things go in your own happy lounge, as opposed to being in somebody else's misery lounge. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.